I want to call this meeting of the Belton Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. A quorum of board members is present. This meeting has been duly called and posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. If you'll join me in the pledge to the American flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you for joining us. This is one of those events where there was a lot of buzz and conversation and excitement, and it's a great time to come together to celebrate. So we're going to begin our meeting with some special recognitions to celebrate some of the great things happening in our school district. We are so excited to have the opportunity to recognize our students, our staff, and our community members, and the great partnerships that we have in the excellence. So let's get started with our all-state band.
Yes, sir. Alex?
And hang on, sorry. Yep. Elizabeth, I apologize. For those of you that haven't been with us, just a little bit of ground rules. We're going to do this formally, but we want it to be informal and comfortable. Please come up and take pictures. Please feel comfortable getting up. We will take as much time as we need to take pictures. We will have official photographs taken to be placed on our social media and website, but we want you to take pictures and celebrate with us. So every individual that we recognize will have a board member come out with a certificate, but we will pause for plenty of pictures. So don't let your students tell you they don't want you to take their picture. They do.
Excellent. Thank you. First up is All-State Band. Belton New Tech High School at Wasco senior Alex Deaton was selected as a member of the Texas All-State Symphonic Band. Alex, go ahead and come on up here.
Come on up, Alex.
Alex performed alongside the best musicians from across the state as a part of the TMEA convention in San Antonio earlier this month. The Belton High School Band is directed by Mr. Ed Stein, who's here with us tonight. Deaton previously was a member of the Lake Belton Middle School Band.
Good job,
Congratulations, Alex.
That is a really big accomplishment, and Alex, we're very proud of you. Congratulations.
I had the honor of getting to sit in on the rehearsal of the All-State Symphonic Band down in San Antonio, and they were quite remarkable. I was so impressed, as well as the All-State Choir, and we have some of those students coming up shortly, but it was a truly remarkable experience to get to hear the best musicians in the state. So congratulations, Alex.
We actually did our choir last month, so.
Oh, that's right. We did. Sorry.
But we still have musicians up next. UIL State Solo Contest qualifiers. 4 members of the Belton High School Orchestra qualified for the UIL State Solo Contest after their performance at the regional competition held in late January. Celia Bowen, a senior cellist from Belton New Tech. Antoinette Lynn, ladies, go ahead and start coming up. Antoinette Lynn, a senior violinist at BHS, and Mariah Montgomery, a junior violist at BHS, all earned First Division Superior rating on their solos and qualified for state. Elizabeth DeVault, a senior at BHS, earned a First Division Superior rating and qualified for state on 2 different solos, violin and piano. UIL State Solo Ensemble Contest will be held in Austin on Memorial Day weekend. The BHS Orchestra is directed by John Fairley, who's with us tonight. Thank you, Mr. Fairley.
Well, this is great. Hang on. You got a fun fact? We have a fun fact to share.
I was going to share that at the TMEA conference, the All-State Symphony Orchestra, the average SAT was a 1430. And that was the average of those students who performed. I was very impressed by them as well. So congratulations, orchestra.
Awesome. Congratulations again. So proud of our orchestra program and our students. Dr. Rosie Montgomery, former board member with us this evening. Thank you for being here to be a mom. Okay, how about we recognize our swimming state meet gold and bronze medalist and record setter.
A young man who needs very little introduction in this room, Noah Henry, brought home 2 medals from the UIL State Swimming and Diving Championship held earlier this month in Austin. Go ahead and come up here, Noah. Henry.
You have to go back out and get him for that. you go, Noah.
Henry finished first place in the 100 fly and set a new state record. In the 100 back, he placed third with a time of 47.67. That time qualifies as a new BHS record and ranks him as the number 5 fastest time for the Texas high school swimmer. Henry, who is committed to swim at Arizona State University this fall, is wrapping up his BHS swim career. Stay up there, Noah, we got more. BHS swim career, having been recognized as the outstanding swimmer of the meet at district all 4 years, and for the first time this year, he was acknowledged as the outstanding swimmer of the meet at the regional meet in Rockwall. Henry has achieved 4 All-American time standards this year alone to go with the 5 All-American standards he made in his first 3 years at BHS. Anticipating that Henry will again be recognized this summer by the National Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association as an All-American, it will be his 4th consecutive year to achieve such a distinction. We're anticipating it will already be in Arizona by that time, so we want to get this in right now. Henry is one of just 3 student athletes from BHS to ever be recognized as an All-American, and he is the first to receive the honor in multiple years. Congratulations, Noah. And Coach Henry is here with us tonight, too.
Okay, and by the way, that's really fast. That record was, that he broke was set in 2012, so it had lasted 6 years, but it was also a record where they used those illegal suits back in the era when they could use those full body suits that made them go faster. And so not only did he break the record, go faster than anybody's ever gone in the state of Texas, but he beat the ones who had the advantage. With that. Amazing. I want to recognize all of our swim. We have a number of members of our swim team here to be in support. What a great program. What a great opportunity we had to be down in Austin and see. Noah is on the banner, by the way, the big UIL banner at the swim center. He's even on that. He's legend from right here from Belton and up and coming, soon to be Olympian, we hope. So look forward to that. So would all of those who are part of the swim team stand to be recognized? Yeah, I know you're all here. Come on, smile. There you go. How's that? How about that? Noah brought the biggest posse tonight. Congratulations. We're proud of you.
Congratulations, Noah.
Good stuff. Okay, well, let's keep going. We have a vase contest state qualifier.
Yes, we do. Belton High School.
Back to fine arts.
Yeah, back to fine arts. Belton High School freshman art student Kaylee Combest qualified to advance to the State Visual Arts Scholastic Event Vase Contest. A pencil drawing submitted by Kaylee was awarded the highest rating of superior at the regional competition earlier this month and will be advancing to the state vase competition in April. Alicia Stano is Kaylee's art instructor at Belton High School, and she's with us tonight. Thank you, Ms. Stano.
I wish we had the picture on display. I hope you got to, oh yeah, pause. Plenty of time for pictures. I wish we had that picture on display. If you haven't seen it, go look on social media, somewhere on the website. You'll find it incredible artistry. Congratulations, we're proud of you. It is so great to see the diversity of our students excelling in a variety of fine arts and athletics. And a number of other things, obviously, but tonight, good representation. Okay, we want to recognize our Belton Rotary Club Educator of the Quarter.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. We're here to recognize Thais Cordero, and she's being recognized by the Belton Rotary Club. She's a 5th grade bilingual teacher. Come on up, Thais. And her principal, Miss McMurtry. She's a 5th grade bilingual teacher at Chisholm Trail. She's in her 6th year in education and her 5th with the district. Ms. Cordero's taught 1st and 5th grade, and she never wavers from having high expectations and is able to ensure her students' language acquisition while maintaining instructional rigor. She develops relationships, and oftentimes these relationships last long after students move on in their career. Elizabeth McMurtry, principal at Chisholm Trail, stated, Thais is a change maker on campus. Her heart is for all students, coupled with her willingness to dive head-on into tasks and her ability to develop meaningful, lasting relationships have raised the level of expectations for students and staff. She is a positive force that has helped shape the culture of our campus. Congratulations.
And you'll either get to or you've already been to lunch at the Rotary Club. I don't know. Have you been there already? Yes. All right. Oh, good. I hope they took good care of you. Well, let's also recognize our Temple Rotary Club Educator of the Month.
Yeah, so Tara Sutherland's being recognized by Temple Rotary, and she's a 1st grade teacher at Sparta Elementary. She's in her 10th year in education and her 5th with Belton ISD. Ms. Sutherland believes that her number one priority is to make sure her students are learning and making progress in math and reading. She learns all about her students and gets to know them and their families so that she can respond to their needs in the best way possible. And her principal, Julie Manley, stated, "When you visit her classroom, you will be amazed by her quiet yet commanding manner and the students' amazing behavior. Her students grow in all ways when they have Ms. Sutherland, and they leave her ready for second grade," which is key.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Glory Tara. It's always good to have one of our homegrown. Great, awesome. Well, each month, or most months, we like to recognize one of our Big Red community partners with a special award, and this month's a really extra special one to us because it's representing not just what's happened recently, but a legacy of contributions in partnership with our school district. We're so excited to recognize the West Belton Harris High School Ex-Students Association, but we're going to get a little extra on this recognition. So, Elizabeth?
As you said, the West Belton Harris High School Ex-Students Association partnered with 3 of our Belton High School teachers, and so I'm going to let them come up here and kind of tell you a little bit about it. For Miss Kidder's BHS U.S. History class, we have BHS teachers Miss Rebecca Kidder, Miss Lori Birch, and Barbara Epperson joining us, and I think Miss Kidder's going to tell us about it.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Kidder. In the beginning of January, I reached out to the West Harris Ex-Members Association and asked them if they would volunteer their time to come talk to my U.S. history classes about what it was like to go to a segregated school here in Belton, Texas. I actually took the idea from the administration retreat this summer. I'd heard from Dominic how awesome it was, and I was like, that would be awesome if my classes got to do that. So as soon as we got back to school that first week in January, I was like, hey, let's have a meeting, let's make this happen. And Dr. Leila Butler and Reverend Harrison agreed to come and give their time that day. And we worked with Ms. Murray to set up and coordinate the event, and Ms. Birch scheduled the Harris Community Center for us. And so we bused kids over to the Harris Community Center 3 different times that day in small groups, and they got to sing and ask questions, and Dr. Butler brought over some exhibits for us to look at, so they really got to have living history and interact with people that went to a segregated high school here in Belton, Texas, and it tied perfectly in with our unit on the civil rights movement and with Black History Month, and it just really put living history in front of my kids. So anytime you can bring history to life and get high school juniors excited about learning history, it's just an amazing opportunity. They're still talking about it 2 weeks later, and they couldn't be here tonight because they're all involved in extracurricular activities. They're on the soccer field or softball field, but they really enjoyed it. They've come back and told their peers about it, their classmates about it, and so now we have other history teachers interested in not only doing it again this year, but in future years to come. So it was an amazing opportunity. I can't say thank you enough. It took a lot of time and effort. I didn't do it by myself. I could not do my job without these amazing women, and it took about 6 weeks of planning to pull off one day, one lesson, but it was beyond fantastic.
Well, I want to, is that all?
Yes.
Let me just add, I just want to thank you for doing this. We have, for many years, talked about the great legacy and the history that we've celebrated. One of the things it's great to have Sam Listy here, because one of the things I'm as proud of anything we've done and together working with the city is the Harris Community Center, and being able for the school district to work with the city and then the grant and to renovate that and to be such an important part of our community. But we always talk about we've got to continue to share the story, and we've got to help our students learn this story. And so you took it and ran with it, and these folks are such wealth of knowledge and wealth of experience, and what a rich experience. I was really jealous I didn't get that I wasn't invited to that one. So I hope the next time you'll send out a little extra bonus and invite us to come sneak in and sit we won't take up much space so we can listen in and learn from great experience. But thank you for doing that. So with that, we need to recognize.
Most definitely. So if we could please have Mrs. Estella Murray, Miss Origine Butler. And I'm going to go ahead and read off all the other names. I know we had some coordinating. Yeah, Reverend and Mrs. Roscoe Harrison Jr., Dr. Leila Beeman Butler, Rena Gunter, Marion Daniels, and Anita Reagan. Again, thank you to the West Belton Harris High School Ex-Students Association for engaging with our students in this way. And let's go ahead and get a group picture with the teachers up there too. Yeah. And I'll say it again, given the event's tremendous success and discussions are already underway to provide more students with this living history lesson, and we look forward to notifying more folks about when that takes place. Thank you.
Great. Just as an add-on to that, oh, come back, we have to redo the picture. We're gonna retake. Come on, back up, Estelle. Come on. We're gonna redo.
We get to say your name one more time, Dr. Butler. Thank you for all you did.
Talking about you. Come on up, let's all proud of you.
She got to, I teach juniors, and at 9 a.m., she got to singing songs about Black History Month and Martin Luther King in Rosa Parks, and it was phenomenal.
Come on in, squeeze back in, let's take another picture.
And she was on the television last night, because she was being featured. It showed her little young elementary pictures, and she's now at Temple teaching and had some of her classes there. So it's nice to have support within the association that all you have to do is ask, and they will volunteer.
Okay, let's smile for another picture. For those of you that don't know, the Student Association sponsors a senior luncheon, a banquet, I should say, a scholarship, and provide the opportunity for our students. And Roscoe Harrison was at Belton High School at Wasco this afternoon, I believe, or this morning, sometime today, with those students. So great legacy. And one more thing, anybody can join. It used to be just you had to have gone there, but they've opened it up, and any of us can be members of the Students Association. So thank you for that. Okay. So appreciate you all joining us this evening. One other recognition that we don't have here, but I wanted to just mention, a number of our students and staff were involved in the Bell County Youth Fair and with great results, and we're so proud of them and the accomplishments there, and another great event. So thank you for that. Did I miss any recognitions, Elizabeth? We get them all? We good? Okay. Thank you. We're going to move on to our agenda. Next item on our agenda is public comments. I didn't see anyone signed up. Anyone wishing to? Yeah, you're welcome to stay if you'd like to stay for our meeting. They're asking permission to leave. Yes, you may leave if you want. But there's some really fascinating things coming up. There's more coming. Okay. Public comments, any takers? Hearing no takers, we'll move to the consent agenda. Does any board member have any item they'd like pulled from the consent agenda? I'm going to pull the certification of unopposed candidates off of the consent, and we're going to hold that one for just a little bit. We'll get to it. Don't worry, Chris, we're going to get to it, but I want to pull that one until Leo gets here. With nothing removed, let me list those items on the consent agenda. We have the minutes of the previous meetings, January 22nd, 2018 regular meeting, and February 5th, 2018 special meeting. We have the unaudited financial report for the month ending January 31st, 2018. We have expenditures over $50,000 include Math Solutions, $80,118 for professional development, Schoolology, which is the online management system for the district's curriculum documents, allowing teachers to work from one platform. Licensing costs from March 1st, 2018 to August 31st, 2019 are $58,400. We have the professional development through Avid. Middle school training will cost approximately $54,720, and the high school training to cost approximately $66,120. We have the gifts, grants, and bequests. That's on the screen. Those are not for approval. They've already been accepted, but we want to recognize and thank those who contributed those amounts. We have 3 supply, equipment, and service bids. First one is building and ground supplies and equipment, supplemental 3, RFP 1711905-172 is to approve the vendor list effective from March 1st, 2018 through February 28th, 2019. We have the miscellaneous contracted services and repairs supplemental 2, RFP 1711905-171 to approve the vendor list effective from March 1st, 2018 through February 28th, 2019, and the option to renew automatically for 1 year, additional year. And then we have the renewal for transportation parts and supplies, RFP 1712906-170 to approve the supplemental vendor list effective from March 1st, 2018 through February 28th, 2019 with 3 additional automatic renewals 1 year at a time. Skipping, then we have the board policy update 109 affecting local policies, BBE local, CKC local, CNA local, CO local, DF local, DH local, EHBAF local, EJ local, FEA local, FFAA local, FFF local, FFI local, GBAA local, GKA local, GKC local, GKE local. I hope I got all those right. But special thanks to Angela for helping explain all that and clarify that information and providing that information to us. We have the selection of the competitive sealed proposal, construction delivery method for the asbestos abatement of the existing structures located at 2868 Shanklin Road in Belton, and authorize superintendent to issue a request for proposal for the project, selecting a committee to evaluate and rank the proposals and bring the recommendation rankings back to the board for approval. We have an interlocal agreement with Education Service Center Region 10 for stipend payments for the Texas Lesson Study Professional Development, memorandum of understanding with the Burkhart Center for Autism Education and Research, and finally, a request for proposal for E-rate Category 2 internal connections, RFP 1711915-176, network electronics supporting Charter Oak Elementary School, awarded to NetSync Network Solutions. That is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve? A motion from Mr. Taggart, second from Mr. Norwood. All in favor of the motion, raise a hand. Passes unanimously. Now we'll move on to the superintendent's report, and we'll come back and pick up that item in a little while.
All right, good evening. I'm going to flip the order of the 2 items that I have this evening. The first is our Public Schools Week activities. Next week is Public Schools Week, and we'll be celebrating with special activities and events all across the district. Those events include open houses at many of our campuses, book fairs, PTA meetings and student performances, parent meetings, Donuts for Dad, and opportunities for parents to eat lunch at school with their parents. I do want to highlight one event that I noticed was on the schedule because it fits in with the work that we've been doing to support inclusive environments in our school, and it's the Only One You Rock Garden Ceremony at Tarver Elementary on Thursday at 1:30 on the front sidewalk at Tarver, and the students are making rocks to celebrate their individual identities, and it's a part of one of their projects for the No Place for Hate designation that they're completing this year. So I was excited to see that at Tarver. And then the big event for us next week is our Public Schools Week luncheon. The invitation is there on the screen. That will be on Tuesday at 11:30 at the McLean Great Hall at the University of Mary Hardin Baylor. We will have special performances by our All-State Choir students, Rachel Wallop and Kara Fish, as well as Alex Deaton will play his French horn with a solo, and our orchestra students who were awarded recognition this evening will also perform. And then we're planning to have a special student at each table. All of our students are special, but we've invited some students to come and sit and be a part of this event to showcase our programs from all across the district. So we'll have students at every table and a host at every table, and we're asking our board members to serve at hosts. And we have a spot for you. So if you need tickets or additional tickets, please let us know. That will be an important event, and we're excited about it for next week.
Great opportunity to celebrate our entire district.
It will be a very nice event. We took a break from that last year with our, and had some socials out on the campuses, and we're going back to the luncheon this year and just really want to have that big celebratory event. Coordination of law enforcement. I just wanted to take a moment, and I'm really glad Sam Listy is here. But I wanted to acknowledge the strong partnership that we have with our police departments. My staff and I, including our campus principals and assistant principals, coordinate and collaborate with both the Belton and Temple Police Departments on a daily basis. We greatly appreciate the partnerships with both of those departments and the guidance that they provide us for practically any situation that we run across. Chief Ellis of the Belton Police Department and Chief Mitchell of the Temple Police Department are always available to provide direct support and advice as needed, specifically for me. When I need them, they're there. Last Monday evening, I was able to personally call Chief Mitchell after 10 o'clock in the evening, and he was accessible to me and he was responsive, and I appreciated that very much. And then later in the week, I was able to work directly with Chief Ellis after hours on the non-legitimate social media threat that was being circulated after hours Thursday evening. And Chief Ellis stuck with me, and we worked on a joint statement together, and we were able to get that out to our community. So very appreciative to our school resource officers, to our police chiefs, and the partnership that we have with law enforcement in our community. And that's it.
Important. Appreciate all the efforts to communicate with us and with the community, and especially working closely with our local police. Law enforcement is critical to providing safety and working with us, so we're fortunate to have that relationship. Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, thank you.
Okay, well, our next presentation or information is going to be shared by some of our students. Dr. Lovesmith, you're going to talk to us about our Skills USA Chapter of Excellence program.
So I would love to talk to you about the Skills USA Chapter of Excellence program. It's a phenomenal program. However, anything I might say to you, I could potentially ruin their presentation.
Yes, so don't do that.
Because it's so well thought out. So I'm going to turn it over to some amazing CTE students who are going to tell you why they're presenting and what has all been entailed in this. And also with them tonight is their sponsor, Karen Francis, who has taken on the role of organizing all the Skills USA competitions for the high school and really getting our kids to the regional competitions and now to state coming up. So we're super proud of them. So I'm going to ask our CTE students to come up, and they're going to introduce themselves and tell you their name, their grade, where they think they're going to go after they graduate, and then they'll start their presentations just a few minutes and why they're presenting. That's a lot.
I'm Shaylin Gomez, and I'm the president of Skills USA, Chapter 4275, with a criminal justice pathway. The mission of this national organization is to empower its members into world-class workers, leaders, and responsible American citizens. And our motto for this year is Job Ready Day 1.
I'm Kyla Dermody. I'm the Vice President of the Skills USA chapter, and our purpose this evening is to present to you the requirements for the Gold Medal Standard for the Chapter Excellence Program at the state competition. One requirement is that we make a presentation to the board, so we absolutely appreciate you allowing us to be here. The Chapter Excellence Program is focused on the learning and the leadership skills developed by all students in the chapter and not just the activities of the chapter. We want all our members to learn the personal, the workplace, and the technical skills needed to advance in their career goals.
So, my name is Alex Alafa. I am the parliamentarian of our Skills chapter. Sorry. So how do we meet our goal as a chapter? We have our framework up there. It is what we base all of our work around. We pick our 6 essential items during our program of work development. So what we do is, we control this, don't we? Sorry. So we have a program of work that we have to prepare in order to meet our CEP requirements. During September, we have a officer retreat where we all get together and collaborate on ideas for what to do for the, that didn't change. Whenever I change the slide. Oh, perfect. Okay. So those are the pages of our program of work. What we did is we took a member survey and we all collaborated on ideas for how to best represent the program in all of our activities and how to treat each activity with the skills we need. Sorry. Anyways, these are some examples of activities that we put together during our program of work. What we did was we picked an essential item from our program, from our framework, and in the program of work, we decided what we would represent in each activity. You'll be able to see our skills meetings, our recruitment night, that's where we're serving the hot dogs and stuff. We have interview practicing, and we have a trash pickup day where we were serving the community by helping out the janitors and the school. So.
Hi, I'm Savannah Burrow. For our CEP application, it requires us to develop 3 SMART goals for every activity that we participate in. Setting specific measurable goals that we can attain help us keep our focus straight and really help us achieve our goals. I can tell you from personal experience that learning this skill will better prepare me for the workplace of my choice. Could you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So after each activity that we participate in, we evaluate each of our goals. So as you can see, we exceeded in 2 of our goals and did not meet 1 of our goals. However, setting and making these goals and evaluating these really helps us plan for the next year and helps us get ready for activities that we plan on planning next year. I know this is a real-world skill that we will all use in any chosen profession. Skills USA is helping us so much to be job-ready day 1. Next slide, please. Skills USA is a place where we have experienced growth in personal and workplace skills so that we become highly qualified leaders and contributing citizens to America. Through the CEP process, we are learning real-world applications and goal setting for projects and activities, like board members on the school board. We are hopeful our CEP application places us on the podium at state, but even if we are not chosen to medal, the skills we have learned through the Chapter Excellence Program will last far longer. Thank you for your support of Skills USA in this district and allowing us to make this presentation.
I'm Olivia Goschel, and I'm Publicity Chairman, and I would like to give y'all a token of our motto, which is Job Ready Day 1.
Nice. Great, thank you. Good job, guys. I think we're going for gold. Good job. Thank you.
Did you have any questions for us?
Oh, I did. Sorry. Can you tell us, each one of you tell us what your plans are after graduation, where you're going?
I've been accepted into a really tough school in Minnesota to study criminal justice and forensic science.
Okay.
I was accepted into UMHB. I'm not really sure where I'm wanting or like what I'm wanting to do, but it's either psychology or in the forensics field.
Great.
I have been accepted to Howard Payne University in Brownwood, and I am majoring in music education and minoring in forensic science.
I'm currently deciding between A&M and the School of Mines in Colorado. I plan to go to school for physics and eventually become a nuclear physicist. Yes, and I have my associate's.
Wow, impressive.
I plan on going to Sam Houston for criminal justice.
Thank you.
So, have you all participated in Skills USA previously? All of you?
This is my second year and Olivia's second year, but the rest of them are first years.
I'm curious just to hear why you chose this event, or this project to work on.
For the Chapter Excellence, because it stresses not only what we do as a chapter, but how we do it, and it they're transferable skills that the students can continue to use throughout the rest of their lives.
So you'll be ready, job ready day one, right?
Yes, sir.
There you go. Yeah, I was paying attention. Well, I was at that event, by the way, that y'all talked about where the students and parents were, and it was well done and great opportunity for people to learn about it. Y'all doing a great job. Exciting to see you taking the leadership role and encouraging more students to be involved. Great program, great opportunity to be ready. Job ready day one. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done. Okay, I want to go back and pick up, Cam, it's good to have you here. We're going to go back and pick up item F from our consent agenda. Dr. Mueller, you want to say anything about our canceling the election? You want to mention, or you want me to just? We have in our packet and the information, because we have two unopposed candidates, I saw a little hesitation there. Unopposed candidates, Leo Camden Jr. representing Area 2. And Chris Floor representing Area 4. Both are unopposed, and we have passed the time for anyone to file. And so it is our great opportunity this evening to cancel the election and save a great amount of work from our election work that has to go on, but also to officially declare them elected. So we have, oh, hang on. We have in our packet the, and on the screen actually, the information. So we need a motion to approve the certification of unopposed candidates and the order of cancellation. Is there a motion to approve? I have a motion from Ms. Lee and a second from Mr. Cowan. Any other comments or questions? All in favor of that motion, raise a hand. That passes unanimously. Congratulations, Leo. Congratulations, Chris. Thank you for your willingness to serve. And I am officially lame duck. For whatever that means. But just for whatever it's worth, the term ends in May, and so Chris will be taking office in May at our regular May meeting. So thank you for being here, and thank you for your willingness to serve. Leo, we appreciate your willingness to continue to serve. Okay, well, next item, let's hear from some more students about our automotive technology program. Stephanie, you going to get us started on that?
President Pitcher, members of the board, Superintendent Kincannon, thank you for having us here today to highlight two or several of our pathways in CTE. As you know, February is also CTE Awareness Month, and so it's a great opportunity for our kids and our sponsors to get out in front. As you know, we offer 15 of the 16 career pathways that the federal government recognizes at Belton High School, and one of those is the transportation, distribution, and logistics. And so tonight, Brian Bounds, who does an amazing job with our students in that particular automotive pathway, within, and also in the new building. And thank you so much for your support with that new amazing building. I know that Mr. Bounds is excited to be in there, and when I walk through there, I know the students are really excited to be in a nice modern building. Mr. Bounds does a great job of integrating current technologies within the community as well as workforce and brings those into the classroom. And also we have Cassidy Bailey and Cody Crosswhite with us. The great thing too about Cody is that he's been in the program long enough to be in the old building as well as the new building. And he also shares with me lots of Belton history too. So he's a good resource as I learn the community. So we're so excited for y'all to be here today.
First, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to come and highlight our program to you. We've had some very exciting things happening with the automotive technology program, as you're all very much aware of. I brought with me two students. Guys, come a little closer. Cody Crosswhite, as Ms. Ferguson said, he's been with me for 2 years now.
Pull that mic up just a little bit so we make sure everybody can hear you.
Okay.
There you go.
He's been with me for 2 years now. He had the opportunity to be at the old shop, so he's going to talk with you in a few minutes about some of the major improvements and the way that's affected students by being able to move to the new shop. And Cassidy is one of my new students this year. She's in the first year of auto tech, and she's been excelling. Luckily, she's a junior, so she'll be with me next year. I get to keep her one more year. She's also one of our Blue Ribbon Project winners.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Can I get, okay. There we go. I just want to highlight one thing on this, and that's that the vision of Belton ISD is to be a leader preparing every student to excel in tomorrow's world. It takes a lot to be able to prepare a student to work in the automotive industry. As you know, technology is changing by the day. Belton has been very supportive, building the new building, keeping us up to date with equipment and technology in our classroom. And I really appreciate that very much, because that's what it takes to really train our kids to be, again, job ready day one, to echo the last presentation. I have 49 students in 3 2-hour block classes. We usually start out the new year full. We lose several to attrition throughout the year. Some of them move. We get some early graduates as well. Some of those seniors really itch to graduate early, so we'll lose them halfway through the year. And due to safety concerns and the way our class is structured, I can't add students mid-year, so we finish out with whatever we have, then try to maybe overfill just a little bit at the beginning of the next year. My maximum class sizes are 18 anyways, so our maximum students would be about 54 total, and that is double-blocked classes. Currently, I have 49 from both Belton High School and New Tech High School. In Auto Tech 1, students learn the basic automotive systems and how they work with each other. We also study measurement, safety, tool use, and care, and they get the opportunity to learn several certifications in that first year. In Auto Tech 2, we revisit those systems, but we build upon it with troubleshooting and diagnostics, using the information that we gained the previous year. At the practicum level, students have the opportunity to job shadow at one of our area business partners. Currently, M&B Auto Repair is one of our business partners, Johnson Brothers Ford, and Elite Auto Works. Rick Miller has been very good to us at M&B Auto. We send a student over there, usually 1 or 2 days a week, and instead of coming to class, they'll shadow with a technician so they can learn what it takes to become a technician. That way they can get a taste of the job site and decide if they really want to continue into that job. Rick also is going to be providing some education. He's going to be coming over and helping us do some PCM programming. We're waiting on some equipment to come in, and him being in the field currently, he can give us some unique insights for the classes. First-year students, we start off with OSHA as part of our safety program. They earn the 10-hour safety outreach certification. Then during the year, we have other certifications. We do the Pro Cut Brake Lathe Training Certification and Tire Industry Association Basic Tire Technician Certification. Second year, students get to start the ASE certifications. They're based on the 8 automotive areas for ASE certification, and they add a couple of more that are geared more toward students. Those tests are a little shorter than the full ASE technician certification exams, but they're just as intense. The questions are very, very tough, and students really have to learn their stuff in order to pass the test. I give the MLR exam, which is the maintenance and light repair. I give that about October timeframe and use that as a pre-test so I can figure out where the weak areas are. Then in May, we give several other exams. I'm not allowed to administer the exams. I have to have a test proctor to administer them. So it becomes kind of a scheduling nightmare trying to get one of my proctors in to actually give the test. So I'm not able to give all the tests, so I let the students select which ones they feel more comfortable with so they have a better chance at passing. Sorry. All right, some highlights about the new facility. Cody's going to highlight a couple of things about that for us.
Okay. Hello.
Good.
The new building is much more spacious. It has about 6 lifts compared to our other shop that only had 2, 1.5. And with this new shop, we have more space, we have more room. The tools are right next to the bay. We have a toolbox next to every bay. Compared to the old shop, if I grabbed the wrong tool, I'm walking halfway across the shop, go grab another one. Another great thing about this shop is the safetiness, in my mind, because the stations to chemical burns or first aid stations are very, very close by compared to the other shop, which they were pretty distant. And another deal is traffic. The other auto tech shop took about 10 minutes to get there by bus, and that's 10 minutes to get back to school, and that cuts out pretty far on time. So with this new shop, 2 minutes, I'm in, warm up, in the shop. That fast, that easy. So this new shop is really, really an advantage compared to the old 2-lift.
Old.
Yeah, well, old. It was old.
We know, it's okay.
The installation was falling out of the
Yeah,
ceiling.
it was time.
It was.
It was a need.
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Cody. Yeah, we were kind of reminiscing a little bit before we came and did our presentation. Cassidy just rebuilt a Ford V6 motor for her Skills USA project. Did a wonderful job on it, and I had her take plastic and completely wrap it up, then tape it up. And I think she kind of wondered why, and I told her tonight why, and that's because whenever we did any rebuilds at the old shop, it never failed. You'd come back in the next morning, and insulation would be inside your engine. So we always had to, be conscious of that, wrap it up. We had to be careful where we parked expensive equipment. The roof leaked whenever it rained. I used to joke that it rained more inside than it did outside. But if we would forget, I'd mark little places on the ground. So that's the place we don't put our battery charger. We don't move our computer over to that area because sure enough, it would rain that night and ruin equipment. And that's something that, we wanted to value was the equipment that we were given. So thank you very much for the support of the new building. It's really working out very well. All right, we're going to be talking a little bit about our Skills USA projects. Cassidy, as I mentioned, rebuilt a Ford V6 engine, so I'll let her tell you a little more about that and Skills USA overall.
Great.
Hello.
Cassidy.
Okay, so I had the opportunity to rebuild a Ford V6 engine. I had a partner, Skylar, and it took forever. A lot of work. Yes, the engine block was in the machine shop more than it was in our actual shop, but that's okay. At the beginning of January? At the beginning of January, we went to district at TSTC. Beginning of February, sorry.
It's all right.
Okay. I lost my thought.
We went to district.
We went to district at TSTC, and we competed in the test for automotive industry. And we also left our engine on display for the judges to judge. We come back the next day, and we got a blue ribbon. We got a 99 out of 100.
Oh, awesome.
So it took a lot of work, a lot of effort, time, but it really did pay off. Skills is a great opportunity for a student to become a skills member. It teaches you leadership. You get to interact with your peers more. It gets you ready for the real world. Yes. I can't speak, sorry. And so it's just great to come together and be from friends to family. And so, pretty amazing. And in April, at the beginning of April, we will go to Corpus Christi to compete at state. and hopefully we will do great.
There you go. Sure you will.
Thank you, Cassidy. As I mentioned, she got a blue ribbon on hers, and those are our other blue ribbon projects. We had a automatic transmission that was rebuilt out of a Jeep, an automatic transmission out of a Chevrolet that was rebuilt, and all of those earned blue ribbons. They scored a 98 or a 99 on the out of 100 on the on the project. Sorry, those are all first-year students.
Wow.
None of those are advanced level students. Yeah, Cody's still mad because his engine that he was going to do for his project is still in the machine shop. Yeah, there's very few machine shops left in the area, so we usually have to get them in there early and let them get through.
It would have been.
Yes.
Nice and camo.
Well, to wrap it up, I'd just like to say thank you for the opportunity and thank you for the support of the program. My students appreciate it very much, and I appreciate it very much. There's no better place to teach than in Belton.
Awesome. We're so glad. Thank you for the follow-up on the facility. We are very proud of that. That was overdue, as you mentioned and described, but we're so excited about that. And I've said several, when I've gone by, I always say to Brian, I bet there's lots of people poking their head in and sneaking a peek and looking through. Have y'all noticed that? Your friends saying, hey, because it's very visible right there in the middle of campus. And
a lot of former students
are going to be wanting to come take a look and check into that, which is a wonderful opportunity to be filling more jobs in the future.
Yes, sir.
So are you all going into the automotive repair business?
I will actually be going to TSTC for aviation maintenance technology.
Okay.
Love airplanes.
Aviation. Well, that's our next one, right? We need some aviation.
Ooh, runway.
Mechanics.
Yeah. Runway at Belton High School.
There you go.
My plan is to go to UTI and become a automotive technology maintenance person. I don't know. Yes, technology.
Very cool. Job ready day one. Good job, guys. Our mission is to provide opportunities for our students to excel, and they are. And that's so exciting to see great things happening and being ready for job one. Well, next on our agenda, we get to hear from Sam Listy and Mac Parker, I believe, about the Chisholm Trail project, hike and bike trail project. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Appreciate the chance to come and talk about another partnership opportunity with you. We're excited to come before you tonight, and I've been in discussion with Dr. Kincannon about this project, something that's been in the planning for quite a number of years now. We are here tonight to present an alternate route to the board. We've had some discussion, as I mentioned, with Dr. Kincannon about that, and she's been gracious enough to draft a letter of support as we've gone through this process. The exhibit on the wall shows you the original route that I'm not sure if I have a pointer. There we go. Okay. The original route, this is the portion of the trail that I'm sure you remember reading about, where we were trying to go underneath the railroad track with a crossing here at Crusader Way. This is Crusader Way. This is University and this location. And that was our original proposal, to go under the railroad track with a really cool crossing at that location. We ran into some issues with a fiber optic line that is in that location, and really presented a lot of challenges, not only with design, but also with cost increases that were going to become necessary as a result of that. And so as a result, we've gone through a number of evaluations to look at alternate routes, trying to figure out a way to best do that. Again, the idea of our extensive trail system, this is MLK. This is obviously the university campus coming up, University Drive, with our objective of crossing Crusader and connecting into our trail system along Sparta and then along 439. So again, this is the fourth section of the trail that we'll be building, and been very fortunate with the grant opportunities through TxDOT to get that funded. So in our evaluation of alternatives, we basically made the decision that we could not do this crossing because of the conflicts and the additional costs. And we were running up against a time frame, basically. The grant requires us to bid the project by September. And so that obviously we have to be done with design and environmental and all the different aspects of that proposal. And as a result of one of the major changes that has occurred during this time since we originally secured the grant about 3 years ago was the fact that we worked with TxDOT to ensure a widening of Loop 121. As a part of that project, unplanned or unaware at the time this project was designed, there will be a trail going along the loop as the loop is widened. And so with that being the case, we basically are going to defer the crossing to the loop project and propose an alternative to you. So this is the proposal as we have resubmitted to TxDOT. Again, continuing this trail along University Drive up to Crusader Way. And what we plan to do here is rather than crossing under or over the railroad track in this location or choosing some other alternative, we will go along the south side of Crusader Way here adjacent to the UMHB facilities here with a temporary turnaround at just at the loop, just to the east side of the loop here at grade. Anticipating then the widening project that will provide for the trail to go over the loop, sorry. And then the trail will pick up again at Sparta Road, pick up at the connection that was built as a part of our Sparta Road project, extend down Sparta Road here in front of the ninth grade center, and then turn in at this location here going into the elementary school. And so that's the alternate route. So this is a new component that we're proposing here. Again, this part and this part are current and existing and will be continued. The crossing under the rail will not occur. Going to a little bit more detail, you can see the proposal. Again, this is Sparta Road. This is the ninth grade center, the 9, and the elementary school here. So what we'll be looking at, and Mac is doing the design work on this and providing for that. This area along the front of the school property is the area that we will need the right-of-way. About 15 feet of right-of-way is what we'll need from the school district here. And we will install a trail, a 10-foot trail in that location. It will, again, pick up right here at the loop. There will be a slight relocation of the fence that's located here. There's a couple of signs that are in place that will have to be adjusted slightly. The driveways will have to be adjusted very slightly just to meet ADA. And then we'll turn in here heading up to the elementary school. There's an existing crosswalk right here at this location, and we'll tie to that, providing for connection between the parking lot and the Sparta Elementary School. It will just relocate it. The right-of-way will just push it a little bit farther to the north, just slightly to the north, because we'll need 15 feet of right-of-way. It's I'll show you a detail of the trail. So it's not adjacent to the curb. There is a parkway area between, and you can see a little bit more detail here, and I'll give you an exhibit. So this is the BISD property here, and this is the 10-foot trail. And then there'll be a location for lights that will light both the trail and the street here, but there will be a parkway between the two. Again, as I mentioned, the right-of-way need is 15 feet. And I mentioned that the fence along Sparta and the signs, the driveways. Of course, lighting will be provided as well. And so again, this is a great continuation of our existing program, our trail and hike and bike program that exists. And I'm going to give you a copy of an exhibit that shows you a little bit more detail. Mac?
You know?
Mac?
I mean, because there's those soccer fields, and that's where
Yeah.
the Belton Youth football practices and all of that.
It will be not enough to repair that.
Okay. And the track and all that that's there?
No, maybe 8 feet.
Okay.
I see kids walking along in front of that fence quite often, so I think the sidewalk will actually be beneficial to the
Yeah, I
students
agree.
attending
Oh,
those.
absolutely.
Yeah, the sidewalk came up in our strategic planning session last summer as an opportunity, as a suggestion from the council to try to see if we could secure that. And again, we hope to take it farther in the future, but certainly this will take us right into the school campus area and hopefully will be a great asset, so.
And the light, where is that light exactly? Is it just one light that you're adding,
It's,
or that's the existing light?
no, these, right.
They're gonna light the whole way.
Right, the entire distance along Sparta will have cantilever, dual lighting.
Roadside.
Lighting both the,
Between us and the road.
right, exactly, lighting both the
Very
trail and the
nice.
sidewalk,
Great.
trail and the street.
Be a wonderful addition out there.
We hope to have the right-of-way plans done within about 60 days, and would be coming back to the board for your formal approval of that, but we're kind of looking for concept plan approval. I know it's not posted as an action item, but with Dr. Kincannon's letter of support, we're continuing our dialogue with TxDOT and working through the design aspects of the plan as it is right now. So we're excited. Again, another opportunity to partner with the school district on a great project that will add to our system, basically. And again, Mac, if you had any other questions, is here to answer those.
Absolutely. We want to partner with the city every chance we get to provide safe passage and for our students. Obviously, the only question is how far. I mean, what's the moving in? But this looks like a great opportunity for our that area to upgrade significantly. So, good thing.
How far out are we on the expansion of the loop? I know that's a TxDOT question, but do you know any more than we know?
We have received from them preliminary design plans, and we have not had detailed discussions about right-of-way what's actually going to be needed, but that's expected to occur within a couple of weeks. So they have actually identified the numbers of properties that are going to be affected, and our cost contribution to that will be forthcoming very, very soon. The design is in, again, a draft form. They have to prepare field notes, and then they'll begin negotiations with the property owners on that. We're looking at about 2 years for right-of-way acquisition and about 1 year for utility relocation. So about 3 years out for getting started with construction. The first phase of construction would be from 439 down to US 190, basically. And so that's the first part, and we're hopeful. Certainly the counts are there. They realize that and are working with us. We will have a 10-foot trail on both sides of
On both sides.
Both sides of the highway, and so we're excited to have that, and looking forward to getting that done, and certainly getting the widened highway for all the important needs.
But they don't have funding for it yet either, do they?
We have
TxDOT.
in the fourth year of the project, we have I believe $5 million set aside in the K-Tempo plan for the first initial aspect of funding, but certainly not enough to build the whole thing.
Right.
So, but we have a commitment from the K-Tempo group to begin the funding. Projects that begin funding, hopefully, will follow behind that with funding in the near term, basically. So we're hopeful. It's not in hand just yet, but certainly the design and the first aspects of that are in hand.
That's great.
This is off subject and maybe way too detailed defer me to later if need be, but I'm curious about the crosswalk, with the extension and the expansion of Sparta Road, which is a great addition. The sidewalk, the crosswalk seems strange to me that you have to cross the turn lane in order to get to the little island to push a button. And is that one that's going to change? It's at 121, and no, it's at Sparta. The new one is what, I mean, it's like that at Lake Road too, but is that going to change? Is that going to continue to be that way when they expand it? Or is that something that's going to be looked at? I always worry about when I see our students standing on an island.
Well, when we were gonna do what we just finished with Sparta Road and added a pedestrian button to go across from the 10-foot hiking bike trail, we questioned TxDOT about, should we do that now? And they said, well, go ahead. We're not sure when we're gonna be there with construction, but we're expecting them to rework that to meet more current standards at that time. But we don't have that answer from
We-
them yet.
I would say that we gave some input to TxDOT. They did come and meet with us and to get some input and feedback about that. And we gave that feedback to them about those crosswalks.
Okay.
I did want to set some people's minds at ease that may be in the crowd here. I've worked with David Bennett already he sent some information about this trail, the site plan for the Ninth Grade Center, which was very helpful. I have a question for him already. I'm going to have more questions, and I've told him, I don't know if he's here. I haven't met him before.
I believe David's here.
Anyway, I'm going to see him this next day or two. I hope to find him. And I've told him that we're going to show him the plans as we go through, and then when we're finished, and then he will be invited to the pre-construction conference. So he's in, and unless you tell me someone different, that's who I'm going to call. And so this is a really this project has got a lot of speed to it. The time is at a 100-meter dash is at 80 meters. And with our design, we're at 30 meters because we got this late. So we've got to do some really fast running to get to the finish line and make it all happen at the same time. So we're moving quickly. And so, but it won't be, we're not working in a vacuum. We're going to be working with your folks on that.
We'll want to keep Dr. Mueller in the loop on that as well. So we'll get you some
Okay.
information.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Good deal.
Can I ask a question real quick? Sam, on the draft, it shows the path ending, I guess where that crosswalk at Sparta Elementary from the parking lot is?
Yes, sir.
Is there ever a plan to extend that and tap into the trail or the path at Chisholm Trail Park?
It's certainly something that we could consider. We didn't have enough funding to do that right now as a part of this project, but certainly the connectivity to the school campus area and then ultimately to the park would be our goal. And then obviously beyond that, even to Dunn's Canyon at some point in time and connecting to the park system there. So future extensions, but not at this time, not scheduled and not funded. Contributions always welcome from the school district. You're about to start budget, right, Dr. Kincannon? So I see a lot of smiles, no commitments there.
Thank you. We appreciate the update and look forward to the fast steps that are coming.
Thank y'all very much.
Bring it to us as you need us to help. We want to continue to partner with the city. Okay, Jared Sturzinger with O'Connell Robertson, give us a bond program projects update.
Great, thank y'all for having me here tonight. Dr. Kincannon asked me to come here and give you a little update on the 3 projects that are under construction. So I figured I'd take you through each one of those and feel free to ask any questions along the way. So the first one, Charter Oak Elementary School. This is one that we're working on with cloud construction. So we started pretty much immediately following the groundbreaking and really digging in. So this, on each one of the projects, included a few of the conceptual image from where we started, just so you can remember kind of, here's the pretty picture and here's where we're headed overall. And it's the exciting time where these pictures go from just paper into reality. So on this one, they immediately started thereafter. We've been working with cloud construction to really hone in on the construction details. They had some questions about sequencing, some opportunities. So we've been going through that process, reviewing some middles. And so you see the image at the top left is an aerial that was taken shortly after the groundbreaking. They were actually able to clear all the trees on the site that were to be disturbed, gathered them up and started getting those off property, I'll call it. But you'll see.
Anytime we can get rid of cedar trees, that's a good thing for those of us with allergies.
That is correct. So we've really been working on it on the site from that perspective. And then the 3 photos that you see kind of surrounding that are actually the foundation prep. So immediately thereafter, they started building up the foundation. The kind of bottom left image shows that it's sticking up. It's about 3 to 4 feet above existing grade. So they've been working through that. And shortly they'll be starting drilled piers here on site as well, and just kind of really rolling through the program on that standpoint. David's been going on site as well with us as we've been working, has really kind of stepped in as we made the transition from design phase into construction phase, is visiting the projects weekly and staying on top of any questions that we have from the owner as we've been proceeding forward on this one. So Right now, no issues on this one, no issues on any of them actually, but no issues in particular at Charter Oak, and just continuing on and reviewing submittals, progress is normal, so everything's on target. Next one is Wall Street Auditorium. You may notice this one we did not have a groundbreaking, but they may have taken up a little bit of the parking space here at admin. And things have changed a little bit here as well on site. So I know there seems to be more people parking at the church than normal, but such is the way. So this one as well, again, some of the conceptual imagery here, a lot of the work that you'll see is going on the inside of the building. They have not started the demolition work on the exterior of the building. They had planned on that last week, but with the rain had just kind of wanted to wait. So then also get into a parking lot cleanup program as well. So they're waiting for that to kind of calm down here within the environment. We'll see how well the springtime plays with their schedule. Yeah, exactly. But I will point out the top right photo is the existing photograph, or was the previous photograph of the chairs. And so then as you look at it today, all the chairs are gone. That is the same image at the top left
Bestest looking years.
So it's a very different space right now, very echoey within there. But we've gone through and they've taken off the popcorn ceiling at that point. We're doing some tests there with the black spot about ceiling color and finishes and those kind of things. But really working through kind of that above ceiling work. And then you'll get into the bottom right image is actually the entrance space into the auditorium. Excuse me. And there they've actually floated out the ceiling and made it smooth after the popcorn. You're going to see a similar effect on the inside of the main auditorium. And then as well, the other two photographs are starting to get into the plumbing and HVAC work, whether it's under the stage, and then also the restrooms there at the front that they've started tearing up the walls and getting those prepped for the renovations there. Again, Masonic is on this construction project here as well as on Lakewood, and they're doing a great job as far as keeping on top of things and moving them forward, and we're getting the answers they need along as well as we get into the details of how do you want this rotated, installed, get into the finer details of construction.
Yeah.
And then final one is at Lakewood Elementary School, so music classroom and gymnasium addition here. This one as well, going on the existing campus of Lakewood. They're adjacent to the existing building, some of the imagery on the exterior and interior of the building. Masonic has picked up this one as well underneath the same contract. And so they are moving pretty quick on this one, a little bit smaller building from that standpoint. So the kind of top middle image is the site clearing that occurred almost immediately after the groundbreaking. And then they started getting into the foundation prep that you see, and then as well as then the two right images are putting in the plumbing, the underfloor plumbing, working through drilled piers in the top right photograph, and then the far left is them preparing for the grade beams. So they are rocking and rolling on this one. I know they're eager to get the foundation poured so they can start putting up the CMU, which will be a load bearing in this case, matching the existing construction, and just kind of racing through here on the end on this one. So staying on top. Have really worked with City of Temple and City of Belton. You know, this is really over the month of January for permitting. So all those hurdles were cleared and starting to get ready on the next one. So I'm not talking about budget.
No.
So coming up, see no issues right now in terms of finishing these projects on time. Both Lakewood and the auditorium are set to be finished this year in August in time for school. And then the elementary school's on target for March, April of next year. So almost in a year's time that they will be working on that one.
Great.
For the high school, we have been working just as a quick update so you know what's coming up. March 21st is our deadline for 100% CDs. So we're hard at work drawing a lot of details, putting those into the set. That'll go out to bid through April to Bartlett Cock, the construction manager, and then look to get a GMP approved and groundbreaking and starting construction in May. So one's not quite here yet, but it will be here soon enough.
That's great. But on that note, though, we talked a little bit earlier about having a special meeting.
We're looking at a special meeting on April the 30th, prior to the May 2nd groundbreaking to approve the GMP for Lake Belton High School.
That's a Monday,
5 o'clock.
fifth Monday, so we'd have a
Fairly short
single
meeting.
item, single item agenda if that will work. That's a ways off, obviously, but according to the timeline, that'll help get them to work. So we don't want them to have to delay waiting on us, so special meeting would be a good time for that. And then the groundbreaking is scheduled for May 2nd.
Mhm.
But everything looking okay, as far as we know?
Everything's looking good.
Prices haven't gone crazy?
Nope, we're still hovering right at the budget when they updated the price at the 50% CDs, and so we're just keeping with it where we're at. We're looking at a couple items just to make sure we have that opportunity to add scope or adjust scope as we're moving forward, but always looking to save the district money and product choices and still exchanging emails and honing in everything on that project.
Good deal. Good. Anybody got any questions?
Just a quick comment. My wife's at Lakewood, and she said every day for recess, there's a bunch of kids that'll stand at the fence and watch the construction workers and not play. They won't do that. So maybe we
They
got
are
some
learning.
future kids for schools programs and
There
stuff.
you
And
go.
she said the guys are great at throwing back frisbees and all the balls that get kicked. We do a good
Perfect.
job at that. So there's your update for Lakewood.
I've actually also heard that they are going to that door, going out and looking out and being able to look out at the site, not from the inside out. And it's a fascinating learning opportunity
Yeah, they're
for the
having fun
students.
watching
So
it all,
really is a good opportunity for them.
Some future
That's great.
engineers.
Great.
A lot of discussion of that particular issue in safety, and that's
Safety,
the
yeah.
bottom center photograph is the safety fence and perimeter and how you're accessing, so. And working with the principal and staff, and again, David's been participating in that as well. So,
Well, you know, I'm excited about all of our new projects, but I'm especially excited about the auditorium. Not to date myself, but I remember performing on that stage as a youngster. I won't tell you how old I am, but, you know, so that's pretty cool,
10, 12 years ago.
Pretty exciting.
at least.
we've heard many people have that exact same.
Exact
Yes,
same thing.
that's
That's
exciting.
right. It's gonna be a great place.
Great.
Okay.
Well, thank
you,
y'all
Jared.
very much.
Appreciate you coming. Now we'll get a budget update, but we're gonna defer to our CFO, Jennifer Land. Get the right expert up at the right time. It's that time of year, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Aren't we excited? Good evening, President Pittenger, board members, Dr. Kincannon. I am here to give you a brief update about our budget process. If I can work this. So I wanted to start out briefly with giving you an overview of the business office, because in the last couple of months since I've been here, we've gone through a couple of changes, great changes. We did transition from a coordinator of financial reporting to a director of finance, and if you have not met Carrie Pridemore, she is our director of finance. She was here at the last meeting. She's not here tonight because she's away getting some valuable training at the TASBO annual conference. And Carrie's previous position was chief accountant, and what we realized is in her previous position, she was primarily performing payroll duties. So when she was transitioned or promoted to director of finance, we transitioned the chief accountant position to a payroll manager position, and we have since hired someone for that position. Her name is Claudia Alba. She comes to us with several years of payroll experience, and she knows the Skyward system, so we're happy to have her in the district. And she's not with us tonight either. She's preparing to go to the TASBO conference as well. The TASBO conference is a big conference for our financial administrators, and so we encourage them to go get that CP and get learn, stay more abreast about what's going on in the financial world. And I also have in the business office Tammy Shannon and her purchasing staff, as well as her distribution and print shop staff, and then Rob Pashasnik with the child nutrition department and his wonderful staff. In the budget process, there are legal requirements that we must adhere to, but briefly, I'll just go over the three main ones, and they primarily come from our education code. And as you can see, as superintendent, Dr. Kincannon is charged with owning the budget, and she's smiling because that's what she accepted to do, and she became our superintendent, and she's done a great job in Belton. And I am so happy to be here under her leadership. And so she is charged with developing the budget. And then we have to make sure that that budget is developed and presented to the public by a certain date. And that date for us, since we are on August 31st fiscal year end, it happens to be August 20th. As you'll see, it's not the August 31st because we have to have that budget prepared and ready to go to allow time for posting and review. And that dovetails right into the requirement that the budget has to be approved by you all before the fiscal year starts. And since we have a September 1 fiscal year, you have to approve that budget by August 31st. And these requirements come from the Education Code, Section 44. You may be wondering, what is your role? What is my role? What is Dr. Kincannon's role in this whole budget process? So as Chief Financial Officer, I'm charged with developing those revenue estimates, compiling all of the expenditures, and then putting together a budget for Dr. Kincannon to review and modify if necessary, and then have her bring that budget to you all. So as a board, your governance role is to review what Dr. Kincannon submits to you and then adopt that budget and a tax rate associated with that budget to support it for the education of our students. There are several funds that make up a budget. When we talk about a budget, we primarily talk about the general fund budget because that's our operating budget. But I briefly want to go through some components of a budget. So when we look at the budget, there are three components that we should always keep in consideration. It's going to be the revenue, the expense, and then the fund balance. And revenue is simply money that comes in or resources that come in. And you can divide it into three categories. Our local revenue is what we bring in from our taxpayers and constituents. That is the taxpayer dollars or our tax collections. That is also some small local revenue we might get from donations or other types of support from our constituents. And then the second part is our state revenue. A lot of people hear about this because this is the money we get from TEA. This is our foundation school program money, and it is based on primarily our ADA and then our tax collections. What you need to remember at all times is that there is unfortunately an inverse relationship between our local revenue and our state revenue. What that means is as one goes up, the other is going to go down because that's our state funding system at this time. So just always keep that in mind because when you think about it, conceptually, the only real way to increase revenue is to increase ADA. Because if our tax dollars go up, the state, if our tax dollars go up and our tax revenue goes up, the state is going to subtract that from our foundation school payments the following year.
You mean the state doesn't allow local taxpayer money to help lower our tax rate? They actually take that money back and absorb it back into their general fund so they don't have to fund public education?
Well, you can say that.
Okay, I did.
We do have, though, I'm glad you brought that up because there is a committee that is established and they're trying to look at ways to help make it a little bit better for us. And then the last category is our federal revenue. This is basically administratively created and handled. And what that means is this revenue stems from either from the district having to submit an application or basically get a reimbursement for expending some revenue. A primary example is going to be our grants. Our grants are reimbursement basis, and then we have some SHARs or Medicaid revenue that we classify under this category, as well as some E-rate. The second component is our expenditures. Expenditures are just that, costs, how much it costs, the outflows of our resources in the district. And of these, with our expenditures, there are 3 categories that we look at primarily. And of these, operating costs, which are our day-to-day costs to operate a district, are the ones that most people think about when you talk about expenditures. There are some key things that you have to consider in the budget when looking at operating expenditures, such as payroll. It costs us about, most districts in the state of Texas, between 80 and 85% of all operating expenditures are payroll. In Belton, we range between 80 to 81 from year to year. And then, in addition to payroll, we have other fixed costs that fall under this category, such as utilities. That's something that people don't think about, but as a school district, we do have to pay for our utilities as well. We have to pay for these lights and water. And for Belton, that is about $3 million a year. So as you stop and think about 80 to 85% of your operating expenditures being payroll, another could be 5% being fixed costs, that really points out that as a school district, we don't have a lot of discretionary funds. We are pretty tight and lean, and that's most school districts in the state of Texas, just because we are charged with taking care of things, of our kids primarily, but we also have to take care of those, what we could consider incidental things that you may not think about, that's beyond the classroom, such as the utilities and those sort of things. The next category of expenditures is capital items. These are our fixed assets, the furniture, the school buildings in and of themselves. And all of these capital assets can be in any fund. They can be in the general fund, they can be in child nutrition, so on and so forth. But they're primarily going to be in our capital projects funds. And then last but not least is our debt service expenditures. These expenditures are unique because most of them are solely, we have these expenditures because we have gone out for bonds, and this is the dollars that we are using to pay from taxpayers to pay off the buildings that we finance. So like I was saying earlier, these are solely dollars from our taxpayers, whereas with operating expenditures, it can be a mixture of funds from state or federal or local, but with debt service, it's all going to be locally generated. And I just want to take time to say that as a board, you all have done a great job to set this district up in a wonderful place with our debt service. I remember not too long ago, I'd only been here, I think, a month and a half, we went out for a refunding, and you saved taxpayers almost $7 million. And you are to be commended for that, because that is dollars that goes straight back into helping us prepare for the future. And as a fast growth district, we are going to have to be prepared for the future growth. It's going to come, it's coming, whether we like it or not, because as I was looking for a home, driving around, seeing all of these houses go up, it is amazing. And we have a lot of opportunities ahead of us. But I also want to remind you that in terms of debt service, we went out for an issuance of about $117 million. And because we are not going to, because the high school is not going to open until 2020 and the elementary 2 years out, we have an opportunity to get some interest on that money. So we contracted with Patterson and Associates to help us invest or develop a plan to invest that money and get as much return on our investment as we can while we wait to expend those funds on the school. And Patterson and Associates, Linda came, I think it was in December, and talked to you all, but they are an investment advisory firm. They do not handle our money for us. They let us know what's available out there, and they do competitive bidding for us. And right now, we have already developed a plan to put in place to make sure that we can get a sizable amount of interest on our investment. So we're excited about that as well. The last component is fund balance. So various funds have fund balance. And as a board, you all adopt 3 funds. You adopt the general fund, the debt service fund, and the child nutrition fund. And each of those have a fund balance, but like I said earlier, we primarily focus on the general fund because that's our operating fund. And revenues, the fund balance is revenues or assets minus expenses or liability. When looked at as a whole across the years, it's going to be assets minus liabilities. In a given year, it's revenues minus expenses to get your current year fund balance. And there are 3 primary categories that we look at. There are 5 in total, but 2 of those categories are already defined for us when we have our annual audit. But we concern ourselves with 3. And one is the committed fund balance. That is the amount that you as a board decide that you want to set aside for a specific program or initiative. And we just recently exhausted all of our committed fund balance. We exhausted that in 2017, so we no longer have any amount in committed fund balance. But we have an assigned fund balance, and that amount is what is designated by Dr. Kincannon and district leadership to set aside for programs or initiatives that we feel are important. And we do, at this moment, have about $3.8 million set aside in assigned fund balance, but about $2 million of that is made up of about $2 million of startup costs for the new campuses. We're trying to be proactive and making sure that we have funds set aside for that, because contrary to popular belief, you can't put every startup cost into the bond. There are going to be some startup costs, excluding personnel. This is not personnel related. But there are some startup costs that you have to pay for out of local funds, such as a lot of our instructional materials and some small dollar items that add up very, very quickly, especially when you're opening 2 campuses and repurposing 1. Those dollars can add up. So we've tried to be diligent and set aside that amount. The other amount, the remainder of that $3.8 million is other special projects in the district or capital projects. So right now, we have remaining about a $22.5 million unassigned fund balance. And unassigned means it's available for the district to use at Dr. Kincannon's discretion to further initiatives in the district. During the budget process, we don't go with this haphazardly, although sometimes it feels like we could be just going from one side to another. It can be challenging at times, but we have priorities that we keep at the forefront of this process so that we can make sure that we are staying on track and doing what we can to stay focused on student achievement. And these budget priorities fall in line with the district improvement plan, with your goals as a board, and what you've challenged and charged us with. And during this budget process, we just want to make sure that we are doing our due diligence to kids, to the education process, and remaining relevant in terms of making sure that we're supporting academics and that we are maintaining a sufficient level for salaries and benefits, as well as addressing future growth, because like I said, it's coming. It's coming and it's going to be here and it's going to be our lives. And we also want to make sure that we are providing great facilities for our kids. So, what are we doing? What's next? We've already started the budget process, but we have a few months to go. We are going to continue to conduct our budget meetings with campuses and departments, and they have been going very, very well. I am excited and learning a lot and just having a good time, as much fun as you can have when you're doing a budget. And I'm enjoying every minute of it. I don't think you all believe me, but I really am. And in April, May, and June, we'll come back to you each of those months in the board meeting with just a budget review, a quick update. And then in July, we'll present what we are classifying as a near final budget for you to review. And then in July 25th, something very important happens before that date, on or before that date. That is when the Travis County, gosh, I'm sorry, I said that for years. That is when the Vale County Appraisal District provides us our certified values for our property. And what that means is we can have an even more accurate revenue estimate to put in our budget for you all. And then August 20th, that is when we have to have that is the August board meeting, and that is when we'll have the final budget for you all to review, approve, and adopt. And then you can set the tax rate on that day as well. That's all I have, and if you have any questions.
Anybody have any questions about the budget process? Appreciate your diligence to make sure we do everything in order and properly and have a well-prepared budget. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next item is Human Resources Report. Todd Schiller, give us an update on comings and goings.
Sir, thank you. We have hired 5 teachers this month and 1 educational diagnostician. If one of those names on the list looks familiar, it's Christy Copeland, and she was a former Belton ISD student who graduated with us. So I will point out, you'll notice a couple of those individuals where it says location to be determined. That's a process, new initiative that we have, just trying to identify experienced individuals early and get them hired up and committed, and we'll find a spot for them. So, and we have 10 active teacher vacancies that we're trying to fill for next year.
So, previous page shows some retirees, but and appreciate people letting us know early so that you can have openings to begin to fill. That's a good thing. So, a couple of notable ones on that list too. There's one I'm real familiar with. Okay, any questions for Todd? We don't need to take any action on any of that this time. Thank you. Okay, next item on our agenda is consideration action regarding superintendent's contract and superintendent's evaluation instrument and goals. Let me just share with everyone on behalf of the board, when we do the superintendent's evaluation, one of the things that we talk about and say is this is an evaluation not just of our leader, educational leader and district superintendent, but it is an evaluation of the board as well, and also of the entire school district. And so we view the superintendent's performance goals as district goals. They tie in very closely with the district goals, and we recognize our responsibility to either help or hinder the accomplishment of those goals. Our conclusion is, and the next agenda item may give this away, but our conclusion is that Dr. Kincannon's performance is extraordinary. And again, that reflects and some extraordinary attainment of goals by all of our administrative team and throughout our school district, all of our schools and departments. And so, without going into a lot of detail, would just tell you we are very appreciative of the work of our school district staff who work together to meet our mission of providing opportunities for our students to succeed. But on a very specific basis, we're very pleased that Dr. Kincannon has completed and is now completed her 7th year and is now in her 8th year as our superintendent, and very pleased that she has no desire or plan on leaving us. And so part of that is that we, each year, as part of our evaluation, want to extend that contract to keep it as a 3-year contract. So at this time, my recommendation is that we extend the contract 1 year so that it will extend out to 2021. Also, that we will approve the recommended TASB evaluation instrument to be used next year, and approve the 2018 performance goals that that are on the screen and that we have worked on and reviewed together. I'm going to hold some of my other comments for the next agenda item, but does anybody else have anything you want to say? Is there a motion to approve? I have a motion, Mr. Cowan, second from Mr. Norwood, to approve that action. Any other comments? All in favor of that motion, raise a hand. Got you locked in for another year. That's good news. So let's move quickly to the next item. In our review and our discussion as a board, one of the things that is very clear to us is that we have a very high achieving school district, and we're meeting a lot of our goals in an exceptional way. But that doesn't happen without an effective and exceptional leader. And so we want to recognize and acknowledge that exemplary leadership, and by nominating Dr. Kincannon for the Texas Association of School Boards Superintendent of the Year program. It is our expectation that she would win that easily. But we will be working on an application for that. There is a resolution, and hang on a second. You got it? Yes, if you would read that resolution. I don't think, yeah, there you go.
Okay. So whereas the Superintendent of the Year Award honors outstanding Texas administrators for achievement and excellence in public school administration, and whereas the Belton ISD Board of Trustees would like to nominate Dr. Susan Kincannon for the Superintendent of the Year for 2018, and whereas Dr. Kincannon has worked tirelessly and enthusiastically to move the entire educational program of the Belton ISD forward and advance the district's mission during a time of great change, and whereas her management and leadership has resulted in accomplishments which will benefit the district and community for years to come. And whereas having led extensive study and planning efforts, Dr. Kincannon has provided the skill and stability to manage the district's growth while guiding the development of a long-range planning facilities plan that will support projected growth through 2025. And whereas Dr. Kincannon strives to identify and implement innovative educational programs for students and is focused on implementing programs and professional development to support positive school climates which contribute to a stable teaching and administrative staff. And whereas the Belton ISD Board of Trustees is fortunate to have a superintendent who provides constant, proactive, and transparent communication, and a leader who has built and continues to build strong relationships with members of the community and law enforcement. And whereas Dr. Kincannon has ensured Belton ISD is successful in every area and is very deserving of this recognition. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Belton Independent School District Board of Trustees hereby nominates Dr. Susan Kincannon, Superintendent of Schools for Texas Association of School Board Superintendent of the Year for 2018 for her exemplary leadership. Adopted this 26th day of February 2018 by the BISD Board of Trustees.
And we'll take that as a motion. Is there a second, Mr. Cowan?
Yes.
I have a motion from Mr. Jordan, a second from Mr. Cowan. Does anybody else want to make a comment this time?
Yeah, I would, if you don't mind.
Please.
When Dr. Kincannon wins Superintendent of the Year, it's going to be very well deserved. It will be a great reflection on her leadership and a great reflection on the job that all of you sitting in this room do for our school district. I've said this before and I'll say it again. It's amazing to me what our school district is able to accomplish. The things that other school districts do on a regular basis, the basic requirements of a school district, we accomplish very well. And on top of that, we're one of the 62 or 75 or whatever the number is, fast growth school districts in the state. And that adds such a great amount of additional work and a whole different dynamic to what all of you do And it just amazes me, and I appreciate it.
And just so y'all know, she's not real comfortable with this.
Fidgeting.
She's worried about this and doesn't want the recognition and be singled out. But it is an award for our district, and it is recognition for our team of leaders. But it is also very specifically and very notably recognition for a job well done and a job well being done and expectation for the future. It is our expectation that Belton ISD will continue to excel with your leadership. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, raise a hand. And that passes unanimously. We have a nominee for TASB Superintendent of the Year and an assumed win. So congratulations.
Thank you
We
very
appreciate
much.
you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now take a deep breath and it's gonna be okay. Now, let's talk about technology. Our next items are all about some significant technology. Dr. Muller, are you gonna get us started on this one? And we've got 3 RFPs, but some other additional information. By the way, board members, I need to before you leave, I'll need a signature on that resolution.
Congratulations, Dr. Kincannon.
Thank you. We have a great team, and this work wouldn't be accomplished without this team. So I want to take the opportunity to say thank you to everyone. These technology items were hard. Dr. Muller worked through them, spent a lot of time on them last week, and every one of our team members works through hard things on a daily basis. So it truly is a team effort to do the work that we do, and thank you for that.
Okay. All right. Items 14, 15, and 16, for the most part, tell a story. And we're going to take that story and kind of tell it in 3 parts. Part 1 is item number 14, which is the item that you have before you. And that tells the story of where we are now. As we think about where we are now, I will tell you there's some challenges, and there's especially challenges because we have such an intent to be a digital learning environment. And so with our current system, we need to move beyond it. What this item 14 does, though, is it continues our current level of service at 1 gigabyte of bandwidth. To help tell the story, I'm going to enlist the support of Ed Gifford, and I think in the item I put that Ed and Polly would be here, but fortunately we have Ed here. Polly is back in Houston, I believe. But Ed will kind of walk us through these 3 items with a pause so that you can approve or not approve each item as they stand alone. So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Gifford.
Thank you. Welcome, Ed.
Thank you for the welcome.
Welcome back, I should say.
Exact. Thank you very much.
For those of you that don't know, Ed and Polly have worked with us many times over the years. Periodically are brought back in to help us reassess and move forward to the next step.
And it's always a pleasure to come back here to see a team function well. You know, because I do a lot of these, and that's not always the case. So really hands off to you and the cabinet members as well, because it's really a breath of fresh air to see people working together. And I know it's a struggle. I know what you do is a full-time job. I appreciate that. So congratulations on the accomplishments that you have. But again, thank you for the invitation for coming. From a work perspective, these action items here are 4 months of work with your team, Dr. Muller and Mike Peterson, and John Greiner, and your purchasing staff with Tammy Shannon. They've all been involved in this process. And so what we see here is I really appreciate Dr. Muller's synopsis. This is really a story, okay? Where are you today and where are you going? And that's the story we're talking about today. So this very first action item is, this is where we're at today, and we're trying to find a way to maintain the existing infrastructure and service so that we can move forward, okay? So this particular action item, nothing significantly changes. Pricing is better. It's a 1-year extension, which you currently have, so we can move forward towards the next action items. So my question is, do you want to go one action item at a time? Do you want to hear how they're connected? What's the best plan of action to move forward on these action items?
Why don't you go ahead and just walk all the way through them, and then we'll take them.
Be happy to. There's a reference here to E-rate. Is everybody familiar with E-rate? Do we need to talk a little bit about E-rate, or are we comfortable with E-rate? We're comfortable? Okay. Very important concept that a tremendous amount of funding comes from E-rate. And I also saw when Jennifer Land was talking about how excited she is about budgets, I'm as excited and passionate about technology. And when she talked about federal funding, I was like, where's E-rate? But
That's right.
that's
E-rate
neither here
should be
nor
a
there.
bullet point.
That's
on
right.
it.
It should be up there because it is a source. And that's something that you want to take advantage of every opportunity you can. And you'll see options as we go through this presentation of where you can maximize those opportunities for federal funding. So I guess there's a, let's see if I can figure out this technology.
And I don't think everyone knows what E-rate is, so if you
Okay.
would just.
So back up a little bit. Education Partner Solutions, my wife and I, Ed and Polly, have had the same company. We've owned the same company for over 22 years. We're independent technology consultants. We don't sell any hardware. We don't sell any software. We are owner representatives. We represent the school districts in all activities. We facilitate strategic planning. We facilitate technology planning. We work on abilities to strategize on long-term building infrastructures. We talk about the RFPs, the technical specifications, the functional specifications. We facilitate writing those RFPs. We facilitate procurement of that. And E-rate is a part of funding that. E-rate is federal funding that you'll see at the bottom of all of your telecom invoices and bills. It says FCC, in-speed $2.35, $3.16. It's not a lot of money, but it ends up being over $5 billion a year for school districts to leverage to pay for telecommunications and infrastructure, meaning cabling, fiber, internet access, those types of things. And the rate of discount depends upon your free and reduced population. So when Jennifer was mentioning ADA, it's important to ADA numbers. As they increase, you have access to more funding. And as your school free and reduced percentage increases, that also increases that amount of money you receive as well. So those are numbers that you watch closely because it impacts dollars that are coming into the school district. So that was just a nutshell in 30 seconds less about E-rate. Let's see here. What's the best way to, looks like that got smaller. Did that get smaller? I'm going to have John come up here and teach me how to work a
Well, I
remote.
won't say I'm gonna do any better, but I'll give it a go.
There you go. Thank you.
All right, where do you wanna get back?
Let's just go to let's go to the second line item, which would be RFPs
You got it, Rachel?
175.
All right. She-
Thank you. 175 and 179. What this is going to do is allow you to increase the amount of service, meaning internet access and bandwidth to your wide area network through this particular set of RFPs. And they do go hand in hand. The first two are paired together, wide area network, internet, existing infrastructure, then this is moving forward. So 175, dedicated internet access, and 179, internet infrastructure systems, has to do with the components to manage the internet. The firewall is something you've probably heard. That's what it kind of has to do with firewall. And in talking to Mike and John earlier, is you're at capacity. Right now, every day, your firewall says, I can't go any faster, and the bandwidth says, I have no more to give. So you are at capacity. So you really have no choice but to increase that. What we're talking about today is how you're going to make that happen. So the next RFP is specifically dedicated internet access increase and internet infrastructure, which means it manages the firewall of that communications. And if you want to go back and look at these things, I'll be happy to. If we could go to the slide, the next graphic, first graphic. This here summarizes your as-is environment right now. The top half of the picture is your internet access, and how you're getting access to that is through your network operations center, your admin building. You have a 1 gig pipe, and then from your high school, you also have a 1 gig pipe. So a total district internet access is 2 gig. Your district right now has, from Spectrum, 1 gig per site is your wide area network. All of that right now is considered Category 1, which means you get 60% paid for from E-rate. Okay, so that's important to know that this information we're talking about is 60%. What we talked about, which you did in approval earlier today on the new elementary local area network infrastructure, that's category 2. And that money is also at 60%, but it's depending on a cap of $150 per ADA within that school. So that number is going to fluctuate over time, but that's where that money comes from, and there's a maximum encumbrance you can do for that. Here, it's 60%. Okay, let's go to the next graphic. So the RFP 175 allows you to go from 2 gig to 10 gig over time as needed. It's a 3-year contract. And just to let you know, there is CETA, which is the state education district administrators that have established what the minimum amount of recommended bandwidth is per school, and it's 1 gig per 1,000 students. I think you have about 11,000 students. So what they're saying is you need about 11 gig to function in the technology environment that is expected in the classroom. Right now, you've got 2. Okay, so they're telling you you really need to catch up. What this allows you to do is to grow into that number over time. So on the left-hand side of this graphic, it goes from 2 to 10 gig with Grande over 3 years. And the price of internet drops very, very quickly. You have been paying about $4,700 per gig per month, and this is going to be $1,900 per gig per month. I mean, it's really significantly less over time. So you don't want to get into a contract that's extremely long because the price just keeps on falling. So this is a solid 3-year contract, allows you to grow from 2 to 10 gig for that particular access. On the right-hand side, that's the 2 gig increasing from 1 gig to 2 gig in spectrum. And what's important about this design is that you want to make sure that you have the ability to, 1, meet the goals, meet the targets we talked about, 11 gig. You also want to have high availability. And what high availability means, if either one of those go down, you want the opportunity to use the other side to give you connection. So if one went down, you're not completely dead into the water, you can still function. So a couple of things you need to keep in mind: meeting FCC targets, high availability, scalability, and sustainability. And these are types of the designs that are going to get you there. 179 we talked about briefly. It's the internet firewall and routers to manage that traffic between the school district and the internet. If we go to the next slide.
Before you go on, I have a question.
Yes.
As far as like disaster recovery?
Yes.
Where is that? Is that, I know about one site going down, the other one will be there, but where, is there like a cloud disaster recovery piece to this, or?
You're way ahead of us.
Okay, okay.
But I love the way you're thinking.
Okay.
Because we're talking about really the second phase of the strategic plan. How do we build an infrastructure that we can grow into? The third phase, in about 2 years, we'll be back and go, we want to connect to a carrier-neutral data center. And that's going to be a location that's really a high-end data center designed specifically for disaster recovery. And when you hear terms like the cloud, that's where your applications are going to be. That's where your communications are going to be. So the district will end up connecting to a carrier-neutral data center, which gives you competition to internet service providers, gives you access to disaster recovery, stored data. And let's just say this building just gets wiped off the map. The school district can still function because you'll have access to that information through that design. So I like the way you're thinking, but that's going to be as a result of this planning.
And then can I elaborate on that?
Sure, John.
So I just want to let you know where we are at today to give you some comfort too. We already have the equipment that we're about to install right now to give us 2 sites that are fully capable of supporting the district entirely. We already have off-site backups in case we had a disaster here, but we're also going to put in place, not only will we have the data in 2 locations, we'll have the systems in place at our current high school so that we can fully run all of the applications that the district uses to support us. So we'll have that redundancy. They can fail over to each other, and we already have that equipment. We've already put that was maybe, remember last year that you approved the SAN, that's what that was for. So we have And we have some cloud backup options. We have our student management system and our finance system that is backed up to a third party to make sure those highly critical systems can be made available if we need to. We can engage that company to actually bring those two systems up if we need to. So I just want to make sure you know about that.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next slide and show where we want to be. You see that the black lines, which is your wide area network, see how much, I made them 10 times bolder to give you a sense we're going from 1 lane to 10 lanes, because that's really what we're doing. We're going from 1 lane per site to 10 lanes per site to allow that data communication amongst all of the entities within the school district. And that's going to be a result of the 10 gig fiber, dark fiber build by Unite. And that's the kind of the heart in the middle of there. And so to link this back to the first action item is we need to sustain what we have now so we can build this. So from a timeline perspective, what's going to happen is we will get action items from you tonight to move forward. We will then negotiate contracts for signature with all of these different vendors. When we get signature with Dr. Kincannon authority and signature, we will file against E-rate things called 471s and FRNs, funding request numbers. Each FRN consists of 1 contract, okay? That goes to USAC for review, and it will probably take 9 months for them to come back with an answer. So nothing will happen here for 9 months for sure, okay? Once we get a funding commitment decision letter that says, yes, we will pay for 60% of that, we will come back and say, we have federal funding for this, should we move forward? At that time, the district will then issue a letter of authorization to proceed. Everybody knows, okay, what's the timeline? How much money is it going to cost us? Over what the duration? And then we issue that letter to the vendor that says, you may now proceed. That fiber construction may be 9 more months, okay? So we're probably 2 years away from really lighting this up and making it work, but we need to find a way to move forward while this transition is taking place. So from a timeline perspective, that's what we need to go through to make it happen. So you're not committing to anything other than we want to do this tonight, okay? All right. Have I gone over this too quickly? Do I need anything more, less? Okay. Let me see. I want to give John some kudos, though. Let's go to the next slide. Through all of our conversations, over all of our go-to meetings for the last several months, John's been kind of scripting this behind the scenes. And this shows what we're going to end up with. And again, the issue here is we want to make sure that we accomplish the goals that I mentioned earlier. We want to make sure that we meet the FCC targets, that we have high availability, and you can tell the difference between the blue lines and the yellow lines, that at any time, if one of those segments goes down, a school does not go down, or a service does not go down. We have the ability to leverage the dark fiber and the dual internet service providers in this infrastructure to allow the school district to survive if there is a fiber cut or if there's something that goes down. So John, thank you for doing this.
And it also allows you to double the amount of services you can provide, because both of those facilities can provide exactly the same services. But you, for example, you might have Skyward Finance running from one and Skyward Student from the other. So both of those have full pipes to their campuses. So you can imagine you can deliver a lot more of the classroom type applications at a much higher level. Excited about that.
I don't know if you want to talk about dollars. I don't know if you want to talk about, why, because I know the school district, just tonight alone, we've heard about digital learning. We've talked about your district improvement plan. We talked about personal learning. And I love the kids that came up here and what they're doing, and so they're excited. I know you get the tools in front of them, they're just going to run with it. Right. So that's right. I love that. I know you know why you need this. We just need to find a way to get authorization to press on.
Well, and Ed, I guess the thing that I'm thinking, Ed, you've come regularly and given this the game just keeps changing and the needs just keep growing and more opportunities, more classes, more technology, more resources are available. And so we have to continue to, it seems like we're always playing catch up, but really it's just keeping up with this growth in the world of technology to provide the resources for our students and teachers.
I would agree with that, and I would say your legacy system's been fixed, meaning it has not been dynamic and it's not flexible. This scenario allows the flexibility. You can go from 2 gig to 10 gig, and like John said, at either site, if you wanted to go to 40 gig, you could do that. With the dark fiber scenario, if you have the high school, and all of a sudden its bandwidth is doubling, and it's that special need, John switches out a GBIC, and you guys just press on. If it's a lit fiber or it's a carrier that you're currently with, that's a harder way to adapt to a change. So this infrastructure allows that to happen.
And to make
Sure.
one more point, it also right now with the way the infrastructure is having that lit company in the middle that provides our fiber, we've had issues where we have a lot more hardware between the 2 points. So you have a lot more hardware that can fail. With the new dark fiber, it's just the equipment I have to have anyway. So I just have one piece that can fail here and one piece that can fail here. When you have a company in the middle, you have your equipment that can fail, their equipment that can fail, another piece of their equipment that can fail, another piece of their equipment that can fail. You know, so we're taking all that out, all that, I know we had some outages last year. Well, that was due to the fiber cut, and also we've had outages because of their hardware. But I can tell you, the hardware that my team manages that keeps those campuses lit at 99.9% reliability. The equipment that we get is good stuff, it's reliable, and we maintain it. So I'm proud of that. So thank you for making that happen.
And we've obviously been investing in this for some time.
Yes.
Ed, could you speak to the increased bandwidth in the interim? How we're going to continue to grow or provide more bandwidth while we're building this?
So the way we're increasing that is doing 1 gig at a time. Okay, you've got that price, you've got that contract, but it doesn't allow for the dynamic growth that this does. So you'll be growing 1 gig at a time as you need it. So over the next year or two, you'll go from 1 gig to 2 gig, but you'll probably max out at 2 gig aside, just because it becomes cost prohibitive.
Sure.
Let's go to,
Double, so.
let's go to one more slide. Let's go down, keep going. One more, right there, stop. So one thing I do want to mention though, TEA has issued a 10% matching option to special construction. And when you build dark fiber, anything that's built is under a special construction. They have allotted $25 million that will expire in September of 2019. I've called TEA on this and said, what sense does that make? You know, USAC's not going to pass it in timely enough. We're not going to get it built quickly enough to take advantage of that, right? And she said, basically, you know, it's out of my control. We'll figure out what's going to happen when they vote on the next budget. But what I want to bring to your attention is that the special construction is $1.295 million. If you pay for that as soon as the infrastructure is built, and let's say the summer of 2019, you'll get 10% from TEA and an additional 10% from E-rate. So 80% of this could potentially be paid for from federal and state funding.
Wow,
Okay?
that's great.
Now,
Timing is everything.
sorry? Timing is everything. It really is. We want to make sure that we get USAC's letter and get things moving so we can take advantage of those dollars. Let's say that doesn't happen, okay? You have the option to defer those costs, the special construction costs, over 4 years. So if for some reason we cannot get that additional 20%, you will get the 60%. But the additional 20%, we could potentially spread those payments over 4 years from negotiating with the fiber provider. And that's why those numbers are different there, just to let you know.
I just had a question about what you said earlier about growing from 1 to 2 gigabytes per year. And so in looking at one of the slides here, it talks about going from 2 to 10
Yes.
in 3 years.
Yes.
Are we going to be able to get there by only growing 1 to 2 gigs?
That will be with, if you look at the charts, let me go back to the second chart on the left-hand side. Right there, stop. RFP 175 allows you to do that. That allows you to go from 2 gig to 10 gig with Grande because they have that flexible capability, because they're going to give you a 10 gig pipe, and you're just going to ask for the internet as it increases. On the right-hand side is Spectrum, which you currently have, and you can get that to 2 gig. So that's going to be your stepping stone to the full 10 gig internet, is through RFPs 175 and 182. Again, is your legacy, and it's 1 year at a time. But the one on the left allows you that growth is 175.
Good deal. Anybody else have any questions? Sounds like we're planning well for the future, well out in the future.
Well, it was an exciting time. It really is.
Okay, so
I don't know if you want a recap of these three items, but
I
item
was going to
14.
kind of take them one at a time and see if we could then act on them each individually. So the first one, we need RFP 1801915-182 and RFP 1801915-173 will be awarded to Spectrum Enterprise and authorize the superintendent to execute contracts on behalf of the district.
Yes, and these are not contingent upon E-rate funding. We will apply for E-rate funding, but we need these to continue. The internet is going to be $46,800 for a year. The WAN is going to be roughly $158,000 for the year.
Okay.
I'm sorry, $153,000 for the year. It's $750 per site times 17 sites.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in order to get to this end goal, we have to do all three of these?
Well, you have to start with these two, because these two keep in place.
This keeps us
our
going.
current connectivity.
Currently, these are the two that keep us going.
It's kind of like, I said, it's a story in three parts. It's, this is needed to keep our current connectivity. Item 15 allows Grande to come in, and we can begin to scale up our bandwidth. Now, associated with Grande, or associated with that increased bandwidth, are some electronic things, which is RFP 179. And then the final item, which is item 16, is the leased dark fiber and associated electronics equipment. So it's kind of, and that's the future. That's where we ultimately want to be. That also is the most expensive. As Ed has mentioned, the reason timing is so important is because potentially there's an 80% discount on that cost.
Okay, so I need a motion to award RFP 1801915-182 and RFP 1801915-173 to Spectrum Enterprise and authorize the superintendent to execute contracts on behalf of the district. I have a motion for Mr. Camden, a second. Mr. Taggart. I'll get you on the next one. Any comments or questions? All in favor of that motion, raise a hand. Okay, we've taken care of the first one, the first two. The second one, moving ahead, this is to approve Grande as the provider under RFP 1711915-175 and authorize superintendent to execute the contract with the contract not being contingent upon E-rate, and to approve NetSync under RFP 1711915-179 and authorize the superintendent to execute the contract. Any funding will be sought, but this contract will not be contingent. Need that motion. Thank you for Ms. Jordan. Second for Mr. Camden. Questions or comments? All in favor of that motion, raise a hand. And we are unanimous in that. The third one is to approve Unite Private Networks as a provider under RFP 1711915-172 and authorize the superintendent to execute a contract, with this contract being contingent upon E-rate funding, and approve NetSync under RFP 1711915-178 and authorize the superintendent to execute a contract contingent upon receiving E-rate funding. Motion for that? I'll go this way this time. Motion from Mr. Cowan, second from Mr. Norwood. Any questions or comments? All in favor of that motion? And that passes unanimously. Thank you. I think we got through 6 RFPs, 3 motions, and a whole lot of technology. And a really good plan for the future. And let me just summarize that by saying thank you for helping us figure out how to maximize savings while we are maximizing our availability of resources for our students and our staff. that I think is our goal. And I do want to add, thank you for the graphics and the drawings that helped explain. You can read all that and it kind of makes sense,
I had
but to
one
see
slide,
that.
but Mike had 3 or 4 in there. He
All
did a
right,
great
Mike,
job.
good job, guys. Appreciate y'all providing that information to us. That is very helpful. Ed, thank you for coming. Please pass along our appreciation to Polly for her work as well. Okay, that takes care of all of our agenda items. I believe we got everything, didn't miss anything. Any items for agenda or administrative reports, Mr. Taggart? Mike?
No, sir.
A quick request from whoever, Connie or whoever, that we get a detailed list of all the activities coming up next week. I don't seem to have that. I don't know if that wasn't on our look ahead or what.
Yeah, that's actually.
We'll have that for you for
Okay.
this upcoming week. Happy to do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Nick,
Elizabeth's
and that's
already
right.
started compiling
Elizabeth's
that.
working on that. We've been talking about that. The public school week activities, and is a really good point. We need to make sure lots of events will encourage, get as much as we can. Jeff, do you have anything? Okay, let me go ahead and mention that. The full week, and some of that even starts this week, but Public School Week luncheon is our main focal point. I already mentioned that's on the 6th of March. Want to make sure everybody is there. Bring a
Tuesday.
friend. You've got some tickets. There are more available if you have somebody you want to particularly invite, but get it quick because it's going to fill up. Also we haven't talked about this, but we need to get it on our calendar. The TASB Grassroots Meeting, which each year is our opportunity to have legislative input, is March 7th, which is next week.
The day after the lunch.
Yeah, so it's up in Waco. And so if you're interested in attending that, if you will let Connie know tonight, we need to go ahead and RSVP for that and get involved. That's legislative process and would encourage you to do that. On March 24th and 26th, the Beef Belton Education Richmond Foundation tennis and golf tournaments out at Wildflower will be going on. We want to encourage everybody to participate in that, everyone to participate in that. Great opportunity to support our students and teachers. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for March 26th. It's delayed again till the 4th Monday because of spring break coming up in the interim. And then the last thing on the calendar is it's election season. Early voting is through this week. I was hoping to get out of here in time. Somebody could run over to the polls before 7, but open 7 to 7 through Friday, and then election day next Tuesday. Polls will be open, and want to encourage everyone to vote. We encourage our students and our faculty and our employees all to participate in the election process. And with that, unless I've missed something, it is 7:18 and we are adjourned. Thank you all for joining us.